While it is true that each and every musical instrument has its own unique voice, not one instrument had ever spoken a single word. They had only spoken in tones and timbre. That was true only up until that one night when on Mount Olympus, Apollo, the god of music, sat on his throne, and beside him sat Terpsichore, the goddess of dance. They began to converse.
Listen to how my music plays and swirls. So sweet, so melodious.
But look at my dancing bodies as they move and sway. Look at the emotion expressed in dance. Dance is beauty in motion. It is the visualization and application of your music. Dance is much more complicated and difficult. Besides, if your musical instruments could talk, what horror stories they would tell. They will tell us all tales of abuse and neglect. I say, music should bow down to dance as a higher form of art. What say ye, Apollo?
Well, let's hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Let the instrument speak for me.
Apollo sat down upon his great throne, as did Terpsichore. Suddenly, beneath them, a cloud lit up and parted. A performance stage appeared before the two gods. On that stage, there was a single spotlight, shining down on the stage filled with orchestra instruments. The musical instruments sat in an empty auditorium, illuminated by that one light, lifeless and quiet. Apollo then began to sprinkle his magic life force dust over the entire stage. Bright sparkling blue snowflakes fell upon each and every instrument, and they all did sit up and begin to speak in the English language. At first it sounded like a cacophony, the kind you would hear before a show, like the tuning up and tuning down of an orchestra, searching to find the right pitch, vibrato, sustenance, and key. All of the instruments would speak as though their owners were their patients. It was due to the common belief that playing a musical instrument was indeed therapy for all forms of mental illness. For many, this therapy of music had cured such illnesses as loneliness, forsakenness, lack of purpose, feelings of uselessness, and not being needed. The guitar coughed loudly to get everyone's attention. The guitar wanted to speak first, for he presumed himself to be the king of all instruments. And while many of the other instruments would concede that it may be true in this day and age, with modern rock and roll being what it is, yes, it was true that guitar hero mania had swept the land, but in the 1800s, the violin was king. In the 1930s, the clarinet and trumpet were the top instruments. For many years, our grand piano had top billing. They all had their time in the spotlight. Every instrument had their time of fame and glory, their time as king of the instruments. The guitar cleared his throat and spoke out clearly.
My current patient loves me so much, I spend at least 4 hours a day in his hands. He runs his hands up and down my neck. Oh, how I long for the feel of his loving fingers on my neck and frets. He has such passion when playing with me. He loves me for who I am and how he can play me. He swears he will never put me down, and I believe him. So far, so good.
Mr. Flute piped up and said,
Yes, that's how it always starts off. Yes, they love you at first, but then, well, you know the rub. First you start sitting in a corner ignored, then you start collecting dust. Before you know it, you're in the hands of another amateur. One who has little love for you and is being goaded by an overbearing mom to play with me. I want to be played because he loves me. I think you all know that without love and a real passion, well, there's just no joy in being played.
Like thunder, the kettle drum spoke out.
I think my current patient has some real issues. There seems to be some kind of hidden hostilities. I know he is thinking of banging on his stepdad's head while pounding on me. But then again, there have been times when I have felt from him such tremendous tenderness. Some call it timpani,
Mr. Grand Piano hammered out with excited voice.
2 patients before my current one, I had as my owner none other than the one and only Wayne Penniman. Yeah, Little Richard. I tell you, I done never had so much fun since them good old days. Man, I tell you, that guy had the moves. He had a real swinging groove.
The clarinet crooned and said,
You guys don't know what it's like until you've had the sweet lips of someone like, well, let's just say, someone like Benny Goodman, pressed ever so firmly to, well, you know where. My reeds almost melt thinking about it.
The violin cried out,
You guys want to talk passion? You guys want to talk love? Well, let me tell you. My current patient is Slavic, and he plays gypsy violin. You want to talk joy? You want to talk feeling? Personally, I cry every time I'm in his hands.
Terpsichore stood up in front of Apollo and raised her hands.
Stop, stop. I will not listen to another word. You must now let my dancer speak. I have heard enough.
But your dancers have always had a voice. They speak repeatedly and often. But not so with my musical instruments. Can it be that what you are hearing is causing you envy? Can it be that you are jealous of the love between a human being and what you might call a mere instrument of sound? Do you envy that a human can have such a strong love and passion for an instrument? Dear Terpsichore, I do admire your dances so very much. Your dances have passion. They have grace and style. They seem to glide as they dance across the stage. But dance is almost always and rarely without music. Is it not the rhythm and tempo that inspires and sets the dancers aflying? It is the melody and harmony that act in symphony with your dancers. I must say, I admire your dancers' passion, control, and spirit so very much. Dance is a celebration of the very same body that produces my music. I say that makes both dance and music equally important and beautiful.
Apollo and Terpsichore then reached a conclusion and vowed to one another, music will always complement dance, and dance will always complement music.